Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to part 5 of my Animal Crossing New Horizons saga. Now there's no need to, but do feel free to check out part 1 and 4 on my channel. I do really appreciate the support on this series. I know it's taking forever, but trust me, we do make some serious moves in this video. Serious moves. I'm talking about like it's a drug deal, it's just Animal Crossing. But anyway, I'm going to quit my talking and we're just going to jump straight into it. Today was my first day playing on 3.0 and I was so excited. And this meant on my daily island announcements, Isabelle let me know the hotel had been built on the island, which I could not wait to check out. So that was the first thing I did. I get through all the annoying cutscene nonsense and finally get to decorate my first room, which was seaside themed. Now, I am not a decorator. I never claimed to be a decorator, but I did give it a go and this is how it turned out. I am happy with it. I think it's just one of those things where it'll do, but I just don't think the theme was that amazing. So when I did the next room, which I gave a Japanese theme to, I ended up liking it a lot more. There were 6 other rooms in the hotel to do, but I really couldn't be asked to do them today, so I just headed out and did some other tasks. The first thing that happened when I left the hotel was that I ran into Phoebe, who told me she wanted to leave the island, and as my only best friend on the island, not only was I greatly offended, but I also did need a few reactions from her, so I didn't let her leave just yet. I then ran around and collected all the fruit off my island, which is something that never gets any more fun. And when I was done, I headed home to make myself some orange smoothies, and I got to use bulk crafting for the first time ever. It felt better than I could have ever imagined. I genuinely feel for the people who played this game for nearly 6 years crafting things one by one, because I've done it for a couple of years and I can't imagine ever going back. Why did it take them so long to add this in? While running around some more, I ran into Sherb, who taught me the mistaken reaction, and I also managed to donate a new fossil to the museum. And honestly, I know I'm really close to finishing the fossil collection, and any time I get to donate a new one, I am so happy. And then I ended my day with a nice cup of coffee from Brewster. I started off the day by ordering myself some new Lego furniture because, I mean, come on, it's Lego furniture. It's awesome. I then headed to the roost for my 10th cup of coffee, meaning I get to have delicious pigeon milk. Creamy. After that, I finally moved these flowers from where my house used to be and these other flowers from up on this cliff because honestly, they were just pissing me off. Then I did a little bit of manila clam hunting, purely because I wanted to bulk craft some fish bait, because as much as bulk crafting those orange smoothies was satisfying, the one thing I've always wanted to bulk craft has been fish bait. And then low-key, that was kind of it. I did record this at a friend's house, so I wasn't entirely locked in, but like, I got a few things done, you know? I started today by opening all my Lego furniture and putting it straight into storage. I'm sure it'll look great when I do eventually look at it. I then ran around and collected specifically all my oranges before anything else so I can bulk make some more orange smoothies for gifting, because I realized I haven't actually been getting anywhere in this series. You see, my goals at the start of this were very simple, and in this many hours I should have achieved at least one of them, but I haven't managed to come close to a single one. So it's time for things to change. From now on, I won't be playing these days fully like I have been. I'll be doing a lot more time traveling. And each day, I'll be completing these 8 tasks and then moving on to another day and repeating. These are group stretching, shaking my items out of trees, watering my flowers, gifting all of my villagers, or at least talking to them, getting coffee from Brewster, collecting fossils, collecting shells, and on days where I can, fruit collecting. Now, this might make for some very, very boring content because trust me, doing this wasn't the most riveting thing ever either. But I'll cut it down to just the important bits like new reactions, funny gifts from villagers, new fossils, new flowers, etc. And I know I've already said I'll be doing this, but I wasn't really locked in on it. So starting now, this is genuinely the only things I'll be doing every day. So today, that's all I did. Literally nothing fun to note, I'm afraid. I time traveled to the next day, rinsed and repeated. And actually, I did do one thing slightly different today, and that was speaking to Mabel, because I realized I still hadn't managed to build the Able Sisters clothes shop. She was just in the town square still, and that is horrifically embarrassing. So I bought one of literally everything that in hopes next time she was here, it was enough for her for one to open a store. Today was also Sherb's birthday, so I headed over to celebrate with him, which was kind of cute actually. And on the third and final day of this recording, something interesting finally happened, and that was Celia teaching me the sadness reaction. Not normally excited about being sad, but in the Animal Crossing world, apparently this is a very, very good thing. Finally, I planted some pink and yellow roses, and that's where I called it a day. Not the most interesting 2 hours I've ever played, but it's definitely been worse. All that happened on this day was that Mabel asked me if she could build her shop here, finally. I kind of just put it down in this general area because surprisingly, I do plan on actually decorating this island kind of nicely one day. That day is just very, very far in the future. That's actually all that happened that day, and the next day wasn't much better. I did do Gulliver in his pirate costume a favor, donated a Dungeness crab I'd caught during that process, and that was actually it. Short and sweet, I guess. After I'd done that recording, I headed to my friend's island for a couple of reasons. Number one, I was actually just very excited to see her island, and two, she had some things I wanted. It was mainly missing fruit I went to her island for, but also I grabbed some things like Nook tickets and some other random stuff. But also I'd like to point out her island is genuinely gorgeous. I cannot wait to see it again when it's fully done. I'm so excited. Today was the first day Able Sisters was open on my island, and I did go in, not because I actually wanted to buy anything, but because I was looking for sherb. Honestly, the main thing I've learned while doing this is that, fuck me, the villagers are sometimes so hard to find, Jesus Christ. The most time-consuming thing about all this was finding all 10 villagers to speak to every day. It was awful. Eventually, I gave up, and then Gulliver was there again in his little pirate costume, so I helped him out again. Because as much as I don't want to, I do have to do it for Nookmal's achievements. I ran into Flora after that, and she taught me the sleepy reaction, which I was happy about. And I also planted my newly acquired pears and cherries I got from my friend. Thank you, Evie. On the next day, Bangle taught me the aggravation reaction, and I also managed to donate a new fossil, which I was buzzing about, because I don't think I have many left. So I was very happy about this, and I know I'm so close to finishing it now. I paid off a bit more on my house loan, and then put in some more orders for the new Lego furniture that I'm sure I'll definitely display and not just put straight into storage. I then headed to the next day and oh look, all my Lego furniture's here! And oh, never mind. I guess I'll look at that later. I also managed to get another new fossil. After I left the museum, I saw a fish in the ocean, and honestly, I'm not too bothered about the Critterpedia right now, that's my next goal. But I went for it anyway, and I accidentally caught an oarfish. I did not expect that, but anyways, I went to donate that, and that was where I ended it for the day. The first day of this recording was incredibly boring. All that I did is see that I'd grown a pink hyacinth and planted it near my house with some pink tulips before I moved on to the next day, where Buzz did teach me the agreement reaction, which I was happy about. After that, I checked on my flowers and saw I had a purple pansy, meaning I had every pansy type now and I could dig the remaining ones up. I then went to go put some of the gifts my villagers had given me into storage, and I got told my storage is full, which does make sense, but also I'd never been told this before, so I was kind of shocked. I grabbed a couple of things I had duplicates of or just didn't want and sold them for a bit more room. After that, I finished paying off my home loan so I could put it straight in for another upgrade for more storage. I headed to Red's boat and bought this Rockhead statue just before going to the shop and buying this 64,000 bell arcade machine. A necessary purchase, of course. I was gonna buy this disco ball, but apparently I didn't have the license for it, so I ran to the Nook stop, got my license, and came back for the disco ball. Another necessary purchase. That's where I wrapped it up for the day. I started today's recording off on a Sunday morning so I could buy myself some turnips. I realised I haven't actually been doing enough turnip trading, so I may as well get on the grind now. I bought 1,400 turnips for 97 bells each, and then I time traveled to each day's morning and evening, doing most of my daily tasks along the way. I did get a new reaction as well, which was Bashful from Sherb. Now, halfway through looking at this footage, my screen just turned black. I have no idea what happened, and I also do not know anything that happened in that time, so let's just hope it was nothing important. On to the next one. Now, looking back, it looks like I only missed about 3 days on the corrupted video, which isn't too bad. I ended up selling my turnips at a loss for 66 bells each, which is a bit of a shame. The next day, Bangle taught me the curiosity reaction, and that was it for the day. So I moved on to the next day, and nothing happened. And the next day, and nothing happened again. Well, that was an uneventful one, wasn't it? Okay, first things first, why do I look like that? Honestly, it's been months since I recorded this, so I have no idea where I got these clothes from, but we moved. Today was a great day because I got my favorite reaction of all time from Buzz, the bewilderment reaction. I actually love it so much. I find it so funny. I then bought 2,000 more turnips and hoped for a better pattern. After that, I went to the shop for some more watering cans and found the Festival reaction, so I bought those. After that, I was ready for the next day where all I really did was help Gulliver out again. On to tomorrow, where I did nothing. On to the next day, where something finally did happen, and that was Apollo teaching me the worry reaction, and that was it. On to the next day. One of the main things I did today was bulk assess some fossils because it's so much more satisfying to assess 30 at a time rather than 5. However, none of them were new, which was a bit of a shame, but I do get to sell them for a shit ton, so there's a small win. The next day, literally nothing happened, but the day after that, I managed to sell my turnips for nearly 1,000,000 bells, and I was very excited. I know these are rookie numbers to some of you, but I don't care. I took these straight down to the ABD and paid off my house loan, and then immediately put it in for another upgrade, this being the most expensive one yet at just over 1,000,000 bells. And that was where I called it a day. All I did was sell some turnips, and it still felt like one of the most productive days I'd had in a very long time. On the first day of this recording, I started off by buying 1,000 turnips, and then Buzz taught me the sheepishness reaction. After that, I moved my orange tulips to the beach because I got in a black tulip a few days before, and honestly, I may have forgotten to script any part of where I got that, so I've kind of forgotten, but you're just gonna have to trust me on this one. In its place, I planted some moonflowers to try and get those going. The next day, I went to Flora's very empty looking birthday party, and that was pretty much it. The next day, Cousteau tried to leave, and honestly, if I didn't still need some reactions from him, I'd be letting him go, which I never thought I'd say, because I think he's really cute, but low-key, the jock personality is really starting to grate on me. I tried to organize my pockets in my house, and Apollo just spawned in, and I had literally just put some sea monkeys in front of my door and couldn't move them. Horrible timing, Apollo. When he finally left, I went to go assess another batch of fossils, and I managed to find another one I hadn't gotten already, and that's when Blathers told me it was the final fossil. I had finally done it. I was so excited. I'd never even come close to finishing the fossil before, so to have actually done it was one of my proudest achievements. Okay, maybe not that extreme, but I was very, very excited. I was also really excited to find out what the reward was going to be. I was thinking maybe like a golden shovel or something crazy, but no. It was just a poster. Well, underwhelming doesn't even describe how that reward felt, but we move. The day after, I checked my mail and I got Blathers' had a little poster, and I will admit, it will be going on my walls because it is kind of cool, but it's a bit of a shit reward still. Later on, I ran into Buzz, who taught me the inspiration reaction, and if I am correct, that is the last reaction I needed from Buzz, and I was very happy to have at least one set of reactions finished. I also helped Gulliver out today, which I did with pure hatred in my heart. Finally, on the last day of this recording, all I did was sell my turnips for 105 bells each. Day 1 of the recording was horrifically uneventful, so we're just going to skip right over that and go straight on to day 2, which happened to be Valentine's Day, which really exposes how long it's been since I recorded this. I put all my gifts from my lovely villagers, which happened to be exclusively heart-shaped bouquets or heart chocolate, so I just put them all into my storage. Sorry, guys. After that, I went to a KK Slider concert because I'm painfully aware how many of these I need to go to and how many I have not been to. I then cleared out some of my flowers, like my white and orange hyacinths, before heading on to the next day, where I was greeted by Cousteau giving me the encouragement reaction, which I was very happy with. And then not long after that, I went to go see Daisy May and bought 1,700 turnips, and I am praying this is a good turnip pattern. Nothing else really happened that day, so I just headed on to the next day, which so happened to be Festival. And I had never played this before, so I kind of just slacked off everything else I needed to do and just had a bit of fun. And I am gonna say, Parvati is the best NPC in this game. You cannot change my mind. I played this day until I got on all of the Festival furniture, and that was pretty much it for the day. The next day, all I did was buy myself some mysterious wallpaper and flooring from Sahara, which I didn't even check out before moving to the next day. All I did today was sell my turnips for 254 bells each, which made for a nice profit. And with the money from my turnips and my savings, I managed to pay off my house loan, and that's where I decided to call it a day. On the first day, I headed to Halves Island and bought this wistful painting from Red, and when I got back, Sherb taught me the Pride reaction, which I'm pretty sure is the final reaction I needed from him, so that's another villager type completed. And that was all I did before buying another painting from Red the next day, which was the glowing painting. I also got my final Island Togetherness Nook stamp, and thank God, because this means I haven't got to force myself to speak to the villagers I've already got all the reactions from every single day, and that will save me so much time. After that, I headed to the next day where I helped Gulliver out, and that was actually it for the entire recording. Today was my birthday on the island, and yes, I will be waiting for happy birthday wishes in the comments. So I went to my birthday party, and it was actually really cute. After the party, I headed out and bought some turnips, as my birthday happened to fall on a Sunday. I bought 1,000 turnips for 98 bells each. And then I went to KK Slider's little performance for me and read all the notes from my villagers, and I have to say, it was very cute, even though I know they use the same recycled bullshit for everyone. I found it cute. After that, I ran around a bit and saw I'd grown some pink windflowers, so I dug that up and then moved around some of my roses. To be quite honest, I don't really know what I'm doing with rose breeding. I am kind of winging it. I followed call it a rough guide, but I do think it's wrong, and that's something I'll fix in about 10 recordings time. With the new space I had for moving around my roses, I planted some red, yellow, and white cosmos. After that, I headed to the next day where Phoebe taught me the confident reaction, which was the final reaction I needed from her, which was one more villager down. And then finally for the day, I went to Halves Island and bought this moving painting. The next day, not much really happened other than I found I made a blue windflower, and I'm not joking, that is all I did today. But the next day was a good day because the snow was finally gone. It does mean this disgusting green grass is here for a while, but I'm sure I can tolerate it. I started off by selling my turnips and one individual shell. I made 160,000 bells, and that last shell was the last one I ever needed to sell, because this means I had the last Nookmile stamp, which was one of my main goals ticked off. Probably one of the easiest ones, but one gold done is better than none. And the final thing I did for this recording was purposely try and donate a faint painting for a Nookmiles achievement. To start off the day, I ran into Bangle, who taught me the mischief reaction, which was the final reaction I needed from her as well. It really feels like I'm making some real progress on these reactions now. Funnily enough though, that was the last thing I did that day, so much for progress. After that, I bulk assessed some fossils because yes, I know I finished the museum, but I still need to assess a shit ton more for the final Nookmile stamp. On to the next day, and it was quite an uneventful Sunday, so all I did was buy another 1,000 turnips. After that, I headed to the next day where Celia taught me the daydreaming reaction, which was another villager's reaction completed, and I am now officially halfway through them. And I got a pink Cosmo. We are making some progress today. I also sold my turnips for 140,000 bells. And for the final day of the recording, I headed to Red's boat and bought this dynamic painting, which is one of my favorites. In today's recording, I did approximately 3 things, and that was helping Gulliver out, making my 500th recipe, which wasn't a goal I was desperate for, but with all these orange smoothies, it happened very fast. Thank you, bulk crafting. And I put my house in for the basement upgrade, which is going to cost me a spine-chilling 2,498,000 bells. That'll definitely be a payment I put off for a while. Starting today off, I got my Nookmiles achievement for constructing all 7 of the house upgrades, which I was really proud of as I'd never managed to achieve that before. I also had my final necessary cup of coffee from the roast, but I know I'll definitely be back because I love Brewster too much. A couple of days after that, Bangle taught me the happiness reaction, which I thought I already had, so I was really confused by that. That day also happened to be a Sunday, so I spoke to Daisy May and bought just under 120,000 bells worth of turnips. Go big or go home, I guess. A couple of days later, I sold my turnips, and there was a reason I went big, and that's because I managed to sell them for over double what I bought them for, and I'm very happy with that. I used that money to make a small dent in my house loan, but honestly, that number is daunting me. And finally for today, Zelda so kindly taught me the heartbreak reaction, and that was genuinely it. Nothing else happened. Today, one of the first and only things that happened was Cousteau taught me the sneezing reaction, and the only other thing that did happen was that I bought 960 turnips from Daisy May. The next 2 days, genuinely nothing happened, and honestly, by this point, I was really starting to lose it. I had been playing hours of Animal Crossing almost every day and seemingly getting nowhere. I started giving up on most of my daily tasks as well, and honestly, I didn't know if I was going to be able to continue. However, I did manage to push on for the rest of the recording, and Sherb taught me the shyness reaction. I also did manage to grab a new statue in the form of this mystic statue, but unfortunately, that was where my productiveness ended for the day and the recording. After the recording, I realized sitting at my desk for hours and getting nowhere wasn't very fun anymore. So I started playing a bit more regularly, just away from my desk and my recording setup, and I just used the Switch's recording features, and I actually got a lot more done this way. I managed to get the dozing reaction from Zell on my first day, and then a couple of days later, I managed to get a whole lot more done. Like running into Flora, where she told me she wanted to leave the island, and since I had all the reaction I needed, I let her go. Before I started villager hunting, which is one of my favorite tasks, I got a new Nookmile stamp for selling a shit ton of weeds. I also managed to do my final set of group stretches, thank God, and I also got all of the stretching reactions, which is huge. And I ran into Whitney, who taught me the thought reaction, which is an incredibly boring one, but we need them all. Anyways, now all of that is out of the way, I can finally start villager hunting, and it's fair to say I've gained quite a few Nookmiles since starting out, so it should be a good one. I had a few misses, but also some solid options like Biscuit, and I also managed to run into Flora again, which I found quite funny. On one of my islands I got Stinky, and I really did debate taking him. I was on this island for a solid 10 minutes deciding, but I decided not to. A few islands later, I was also incredibly torn on taking Sky, but because I already had Whitney, I decided against it. But in the end, the villager I did end up taking was Dobie, and I do love Dobie so much. I am so excited to have him on my island. The first 2 days, literally nothing happened until Cousteau taught me the flourish reaction, which was the final reaction I needed from him, thank God, because now I don't have to listen to any more talk of his fucking delts or whatever he bangs on about. I had another very uneventful 2 days, and then it was the fishing tourney, so I took part in that purely for the stamp, and that was pretty much it. During this entire recording, not a single thing happened. And I'm not even exaggerating. No new flowers, no reactions, not a single Nook Mile stamp. And that was genuinely my final straw. For the rest of the time it took to get these reactions, I wish I could do it through recording on my Switch. And I have to sit at my desk for 4 hours a day getting nothing. And in doing this, I actually ended up enjoying the game again. Thank God. Starting off, I managed to get the intense reaction from Whitney, followed by resignation from Zell a few days later. Not many days after that, Zell taught me another reaction, which was the smirking reaction, which was the final one I needed, so it was only Whitney's reactions left to go. On a very rainy day a couple days later, Whitney taught me the sighing reaction, and the very next day she taught me the love reaction, which was the final one. I had finally fucking done it. Honestly, looking back, not worth the amount of fucking time it took me, but I committed and got it done. I am so glad this is finally done and I get to move on to a new goal for this series. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you did enjoy. Please feel free to like, subscribe, maybe leave a comment saying this video was awesome. And I am taking recommendations for new series to start. I am enjoying Animal Crossing, obviously, but I do want to broaden my horizons a little bit, no pun intended. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I will see you next time. Bye.